Start? Okay. Okay, we will start with the peace chant. Last 2 days we have learned to. So repeat after me. Hari, will you please close that door? Yeah, I think. Okay, let's do it together. Oh. Apayantu mamangani. Apayantu mamangani. Bhak pranaha chakshuhu. Bhak pranaha chakshuhu. Shrotramatha balamindriyani. Shrotramatho balamindriyani. Cha sarvani vani. Sarvam brahmopanishadam. Sarvam brahmopanishadam. Maham brahma nirakuryam. Maham brahma nirakuryam. Mama brahma nirakaro. Mama brahma nirakaro. Anirakaranam astu. Anirakaranam astu. Anirakaranam mestu. Anirakaranam mestu. Tadatmani nirate. Tadatmani nirate. Ya Upanishatsu, Ya Upanishatsu, Dharmaste mai santu, Dharmaste mai santu, Te mai santu, Te mai santu, Om Shanti. Shanti, 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 Shanti. We have been exploring Kena Upanishad for last 2 days. Some of you have attended both the sessions. It started with a question of a sincere spiritual seeker. Is there a reality behind what is our psychophysical complex? Are we just a passing synthesis of information, or is there anything permanent in us which is more fundamental than our senses, our motor organs, our mind, our vital energy? That was the question. And rest of the Upanishad is answer to the question. The teacher was trying to convey to the student something which is difficult to convey. The spiritual reality is ineffable. That is beyond description of words. Words cannot adequately capture that spiritual reality. Still, with some pointers and with some paradoxes, the teacher struggles their best to convey or point out to the reality. The teacher said, it is what it is not. It is not speech, it is not eyes, it is not the ears, it is not even mind, it is not the vital energies, it is even innermost of all of this. It is more fundamental than all of this. That was a pointer in the sense of neti neti. It is not this, not this, not this. Go even more deep within. Then to implement, to think for themselves, the teacher used some paradoxical language that reality is other than known, also other than unknown. And we had some deliberation on that. That is possible only when the reality is not anything which can be objectified, which is not knowable. Knowable in the sense of the way we know things or objects. The reality is not in that way knowable. It is always the knower. It is always the subject, the ever-present subject. That was a pointer. Then how to get a grasp of that reality? Is it elusive totally? If it is beyond words, beyond speech, beyond sight, beyond known or unknown, we came to the central message of the Keno Upanishad, Patibodha Viditam. Try to intuit its presence in every act of cognition. And in every cognition, there is an object. Mind is knowing the object, but there is the light of that reality, of Atma, which is illumining the mind to know the object. So in every act of cognition, every feeling, we indirectly are in touch with Atma or that reality. In every moment, if we try to find out who is the real witness, witness not only of this world, witness of what is happening in the mind, what is even in our vital energies. Who is that who ultimately knowing everything? Who is the one who appears to be the permanent reality behind all this changing phenomenon, changing states of mind, changing emotions, changing moods, changing availability of energy. Availability of energy also, you know, right? That today I don't have that energy. I'm feeling low in energy. So who is that one who knows even all of this and also gives us a sense of permanence? If we were only minds, then mind is changing all the time, right? We understand it does not require much wisdom. Changing minds. I have changed my mind. We say, I have changed my mind. So if we were mind only, then we have changed so many times. In a way, it is true, but at the same time, we have a sense of permanence, continuance. What is that that does not change? Try to get that. That was the message. And we also interpreted it from the standpoint of a devotee, that a devotee may always, moment to moment, may think of the presence of God. Whatever we are doing, whatever we are thinking, God is present in our heart. God is witnessing all of this. That is a great practice, moment to moment spirituality, moment to moment. whatever we are doing, whether we are driving a car, working on a computer, or cooking, we can keep a part of our mind with the awareness that God is present, God is with us. We are never alone. God is with us. So that's a very powerful practice, a moment-to-moment spirituality. And what will happen? Upanishad promised that if we can do that, it is not an easy thing. Upanishad said that it requires great strength to do that, moment to moment, to practice that spirituality, but it requires effort. And with effort, the more we can do that, what will happen? We'll get a sense of security of a presence of a permanent being, a permanent reality in us. And we even explored that how insecure the entire enterprise of human beings are. Stock prices go up and down. Real estate, which is supposed to be a source of security, can change drastically. Bitcoin can make you billionaire and a pauper in a day. Relationship, we can invest so much into to have a secure relationship that may fall apart. In all of these changing, insecure things, if we can get hold of something which gives us security, it is like having immortality. Immortality. Discovering a dimension in us which is always present and which is terra firma. We gave the example of Bobo doll. Those dolls, bottom heavy dolls, we throw them, punch them, but they stand up again. After rolling and rocking, it immediately stands up because it has a center of gravity which is heavy. So spiritual center of gravity in us, which gives us security in changing times, which let us feel that we are never alone. There is the reality or God always with us. This is the promise of the Upanishad. And as I said, I see Keno Upanishad from the perspective of a spiritual seeker as three concentric circles. Three concentric circles means three layers of spiritual practice. The core practice of Keno Upanishad is live moment to moment with that spiritual awareness. Moment to moment. Every moment it can be. It is not easy, but it can be practiced. That moment to moment, we may be aware of that spiritual reality. Or if you are a devotee, moment to moment, it is possible to remember God's presence. The famous Brother Lawrence practice of presence of God. It is possible, moment to moment spirituality. That is the core spiritual practice or message of Keno Upanishad. And today we shall look into two other concentric circles. So the main practice will be supported by another practice. That practice will be supported by other practices. So together they will form a complete picture to a spiritual seeker. Okay. Now, after this philosophical discussion, which we had in chapter 1 and chapter 2, it's a small Upanishad, only having 44 mantras, divided into 4 sections. First section and second section is conversation between the teacher and the student. And it is all philosophy. And at the end, we get something, the practice. Practice is moment-to-moment spirituality, moment-to-moment spirituality. Now, to ease up the matter a little and also to drive home some other points, the Upanishad presents us a mythological story. The story is like this, that there was once a battle between gods and demons. The gods won over the demons and started celebrating the win. They became arrogant of their win. Brahman, the ultimate reality, thought that these deities, these lesser gods, here gods are not the ultimate ones, they are smaller deities, kind of, you may think of the C-level executives, okay, the chief of operation officers, chief financial officers, or C-level executives of the whole business. So they were celebrating and kind of became arrogant of their victory. Brahman, that reality which holds everything together, Brahman thought that they should be given a lesson. So Brahman appeared as a mystical being. Mystical beings called Yaksha, means something which we have never seen anything like that. Very mystical something and full of light. And so the gods became very curious. What is this mysterious being we have never seen? So we should investigate. They sent first Agni, the fire god. They said, Agni, please go and inquire who is this mysterious looking being. So Agni said, oh, sure, why not? Agni went, and as soon as Agni appeared before Yaksha, Yaksha asked, who are you? Agni said, oh, I am the fire god. And Yaksha asked, what can you do? Oh, I can burn anything. I can burn anything and everything. Then Yaksha placed a bunch of straw in front of Agni. Okay, then burn it. Agni could not. Agni could not burn it and felt ashamed. So without any further conversation, Agni returned to the gods and reported, I don't know who this mysterious being is. Then the gods decided to send Bayuhu, the god of airs. You go and ascertain who this mysterious being is. Bayu went, same thing. Yaksha asked, who are you? Oh, I am Agni, I am Bayu, the air god. I can blow everything away. So again, Yaksha placed a bunch of straw and okay, blow it. Bayu could not, felt ashamed and returned, said, I could not. I don't know who this mysterious being is. Then the gods said, Indra. Indra is CEO of the gods, chief executive officer. You go and ascertain. Indra went. As soon as Indra went, Yaksha disappeared. That means Yaksha even did not care to talk to. With others, Yaksha at least had some conversation. But with Indra, it did not have any conversation at all, and it disappeared. But Indra was wise enough. Indra waited, had some patience, waited a bit. Then there appeared a very beautiful woman, Uma Haimavati, beautiful and with lot of beautiful jewelry. She appeared before Indra. Indra asked Uma that who this mysterious being who was here, who that mysterious being is. Then Uma said that it is none other than Brahman, the ultimate reality. It wanted to teach you a lesson that the win that you were celebrating is ultimately belongs to Brahman, ultimate reality. You need not be so arrogant about your victory. This is the story. The significance of the story, we don't know. Upanishad does not explain why this story was presented. But we can that Upanishad wanted to drive home some points like arrogance is not good in spiritual life. To have that spiritual wisdom to dawn, arrogance like Agni and Vayu does not take us further. Arrogance is not good. They were arrogant that we are fire, we can do everything. So there is a fine line between pride or dignity and being arrogant. We need humility, spiritual humility, receptiveness to get the knowledge. Indra had that. Indra had that patience, and that's why Indra waited. And Uma, the beautiful, Shankaracharya says Uma here, beautiful woman, represents the spiritual beauty, illumination, knowledge. That is the most beautiful thing in the world. Spiritual awareness or illumination is the most beautiful. That is represented by Uma. That is the lesson probably we can get from the story. But another reason why Upanishad presented this story is to introduce 4 upasanas. Upasana. Upasana means contemplation. Upa, near, asana, sitting. So here not physically sitting. Upasana means dwelling on some idea. Dwelling on some idea for some considerable amount of time. That is upasana. Upasana is needed in spiritual life. Why? Because what the territory we are entering into is very subtle. Very subtle. All Atman, Brahman, God that Upanishad speaks about, to have even an intellectual conception about them, we need a very subtle mind, refined mind, trained mind. Upasana prepares us for that. Upasana prepares our mind to grasp that subtle knowledge, contemplation. That's why from the very beginning in the Vedas we find, in the Upanishads we find mention of many upasanas, many contemplation, which are the precursor to what we know now as dhyana or meditation. Meditation is usually on a particular object or a symbol or a mantra. Here, the goal is to have one-pointedness or focus. Compared to that, upasana is much more free-flowing. Free-flowing. It is about an idea. Or take up a story. For example, take up the story just presented and contemplate on that story, what the significance of the story could be. That is upasana. Okay. So now this Upanishad speaks about 4 types of upasana and very mystical. We never understand. Upanishad does not explain the meanings of the upasana. We shall go through the upasanas briefly. Okay. So these upasanas are the second concentric circle of the 3 circles. That is to point to moment spirituality, which is the core message of Keno Upanishad. Moment to moment, try to live up to that spiritual reality. It has to be supported by upasana. That is some time which is exclusively dedicated to contemplation. Exclusively dedicated to contemplation. If we can do that, then moment to moment spirituality will be easier to do. Okay, so it will be, so moment to moment spirituality, chief central message, central upasana, central sadhana or practice of Kena Upanishad should be supported by upasana. And Upanishad presents 4 upasanas here. We shall try to get some idea about the upasana. We shall read the mantra, okay? You can repeat after me. Tasyaisha adesho. It is 4th chapter, mantra 4, 4.4. Tasyaisha adesho. Tasyaisha adesho. Yat etat. Yat etat. Vidhuto. Vidhuto. Vyadu tada, vyadu tada, itim, tim, nyami mishada, iti adhidaivatam, iti adhidaivatam. Wherever we find upasana in Upanishad, there will be always 2 aspects of the upasana. One is cosmic, at the cosmic level, and another will be individual level. That is, any idea, apply it to macrocosmic level or cosmic level, and then same idea inside individual level or microcosmic level. So it starts with adhidaivatam, cosmic level. How to intuit about that spiritual reality in cosmic level. Why they speak about cosmic level? Because inquiry is about myself. My take is that Upanishad sages knew that if we are only involved or engaged with internal inquiry, there is a chance we might become selfish. Only about my spirituality, me. So that's why always they wanted to point out the cosmic dimension. Think parallelly, not only in what is in you, but what is out there. Because ultimately, the point they want to reach is this, that what is the fundamental in you is also the fundamental of the entire existence. And they kind of invented the formula for that. I am Aham Brahmasmi. What I am really is the vast, limitless, infinite. So they want us to never lose sight of that. Even in the Upasana, think of the cosmic and think of the individual. Okay, so they start with first the cosmic level. What is that? 2 types of Upasana they are telling. One is, the first Upasana is lighting Upasana. Imagine there is a flash of lighting, which is momentary, but it illumines everything and it is gone. Just like the yaksha of the story, the mysterious being of the story, it is luminous and it appeared, then it went away. But when it went away, Indra got some knowledge. illumination, some insight about that reality. So the Upanishad is probably trying to say us that reality, that spiritual reality, flashes even in the outer world. That is, even when with your eyes open, you can get a glimpse of that reality, glimpse of the reality. Look at Sri Ramakrishna's life. Sri Ramakrishna one day was talking about with Trailokanath Sannal, and he said that one day I was plucking flowers from the garden for worship, and suddenly I saw that the entire universe is one big worship. A big worship is going on, and the worship is over. Everything has been already offered. So what is the point now in plucking a few flowers and offering it to the image? There is an ongoing worship of the universe, and these flowers and the beauty of nature is just like offering in front of that universal deity. Then Trailokya says, wow, nice, very good way of imagining. Sri Ramakrishna, no, it's not imagination. It was a flash. It was like a flash, it came upon me. Okay, probably we don't know. We are just assuming. Upanishad is probably trying to say that all-pervading presence of Brahman may flash before a sadhaka, even with open eyes. Even with open eyes. It is possible. It is possible. Not that it has to be like really light. Okay, but suddenly we might find sometime that we feel we have become one with the entire creation. It happens. It happens, especially if you at the right type of mood, and if you have gone to the Himalayas and sat on a rock and suddenly you see the entire Himalayan range in front of you. For some time, you might forget your own existence. You feel like you have become one with everything, just one reality, and you are one with that reality. A deep sense of belonging to the entire creation. So that happens like a flash. Maybe Upanishad is pointing to that intuition about that reality, even with open eyes, might happen in the world like a flash of lightning. Second upasana that it maintained, that is, it is an upasana. So what is the upasana? Upasana or practice? Just contemplate this way. Contemplate this way that there is a flash of light. There is a flash of light. Contemplate in this way. Don't take lightning as just a physical phenomenon. Take lightning as a symbol of spiritual illumination or a opening up a new spiritual window or spiritual vista. Contemplate that way. Second is naimishik, that is winking of the eyes. That suppose we have closed our eyes and open our eyes, what happened? That nothing was visible, suddenly everything became visible in a flash of moment. Just as the yaksha appeared in a moment, everything became illumined. In that way, compare the winking of your eyes with flash of dawn of knowledge. Again, we don't know the details. What the details of this upasana would be, okay? It is just an suggestion to expand our, if we are allowed to say, expand our awareness to see or to find or seek that reality even in nature, not only with eyes closed, but even with eyes open. Next sadhana, which is very much related to the core practice. Core practice was try to recognize that reality each moment, moment to moment. That sadhana is related to next upasana. Mantra 4.5. Atha adhatmam, atha adhatmam, yat etat gacchati iva cha mano anena cha etat upasmarati avhishnagam sankalpaha. Yes, another upasana, interesting, that try to contemplate this way. Wherever mind is going, it is gacchati. Wherever mind goes, it touches Atma. Wherever mind is going, it is touching not other than Atma. That means whatever is happening in the mind, happening in the presence of Atma, in the light of Atma. Because of the presence of Atma, mind is functioning. Mind is alighting on objects. Mind is knowing. Try to contemplate this way. Upshot is this. At the time of meditation, many a times we find that our mind wanders. We wanted to meditate on something, but suddenly we find mind has gone somewhere else. And we try to bring it back. But imagine this way, that wherever has mind gone, where the mind has gone, it has gone to Atma only, Brahman only. If we can remember that way, that wherever it is going, ultimately it is within the domain of Atman only, Brahman only, then we'll find that very soon we are out of that anxiety that mind is wandering away. The wandering itself becomes a form of meditation. Where the mind has gone now, it has. I was meditating on Sri Ramakrishna. It has gone to San Francisco. But what is San Francisco after all? San Francisco is where it is floating, in my own consciousness, on my own Atma. So mind is actually touching Atma wherever it is going. If we can think that way, that even wandering of the mind can become a blessing. A blessing. It does not mean we have to let the mind wander, but think about it. If we can think this way, wherever mind is going is actually not other than Atman. That is, we are trying to remind ourselves that whatever it is nothing but manifestation of that reality, or manifestation of my same Ishta. My Ishta has become everything for a devotee. So wherever the mind is going, it is indirectly touching my Ishta, or that reality. Try to contemplate that way. That is one upasana. Not only that, it says, whatever the mind remembers, whenever mind remembers, that is, remembers means about past, that also is happening in the presence of Atma. So when we are living in the past, which we do most of the time, we hardly live in the moment. the point was, Upanishad wants us to live on the moment and be aware of the presence of Atma, but we hardly live, we live in the past or future. So even when we are living in the past, can we convert the living in the past as thinking that even dwelling in the past, that dwelling in the past means what? Actually, recollecting earlier cognitions. What we are now seeing is present cognition. And what is memory? What was earlier cognition, past cognitions. And if present cognition is nothing but happening in Atma, so memories are what? Memories are also, through memories also we can trace Atma. Okay, so even when you are dwelling in the past, try to think that that also happened in Atma, in the light of Atma. Not only that, Sankalpaha, when you are thinking about or imagining about future, what it is going on, that also is happening in the mind in the light of Atma. So can you meditate in that way? Because very often we love to dwell in the present or in the past. So can we change that without trying to change the habit of living into the present? Can we just think this way, that yes, I am living in the future or in the past, but at the background of future or at the background of past, there is nothing but this Atman or that reality. Or for a devotee, the future also is nothing but my Ishta appearing as future, my Ishta which appeared as past. That is a kind of upasana. This is the third upasana. First was like a flash of lightning, try to think, or winking of the eyes, or blinking of the eyes. Third is thought upasana. Upasana or contemplation on the functioning of the mind itself. That mind remains in the present, in the past, or in the future, is always actually is never out of touch of Atma. This is itself a contemplation. And the fourth contemplation or upasana is 4.6. Tatha tatvanam nama tatvanam iti upasitavyam saya etat evam vedavhi henagam sarvani bhutani sambanchanti. The fourth upasana, tadvanam upasana. Tadvanam means very dear. Okay? So try to imagine that reality, Atma, as your very dear self. That is, for now, for most of us, that reality is, we don't know about that reality. So it might appear from the description in the Upanishad, it is very dry. It cannot be touched by eyes, cannot be touched by mind. It is beyond this, beyond that. We need some positive attributes. How to then meditate? That it is your innermost self and which is dearest to you. So you meditate on that reality with the idea, with the feeling that it is dearest to me. And we can now easily correlate, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the discussion between Yajnavalkya and Maitri. Yajnavalkya says, "Oh Maitri, in everything in this world is loved for the presence of, for our own self." Own self means here not the selfish self, but Atma. The idea is, I love you. Apparently, the beauty or your personality for that. But Upanishad says it is the nature of Atma to be drawn by Atma. Okay. You are dear to me because you have Atman in you, I have Atman in you, me, and that Atman is seeking Atman, loving the Atman in you. Okay, try to meditate in that way, that your innermost reality is very dear, something which all of us love. The love for ourselves is because of this innermost reality, which is very lovable, adorable. Try to imagine that way. I know the question that you are having, if Atman is in everybody, why we can't love everybody? Is not it? If Atman is in everybody, Atman should be drawn to everybody. But why we like someone and we don't like someone? Well, that is the problem of Maya. That is the problem. That is the limitations imposed by Maya. And whole spiritual life is to get over that, so that we reach a state which is called Sarva Atma Bhava. We are one with everything and everybody. That is the goal. Okay. And that is a reality, but now not accessible to us. Okay. So for upasanas, I know upasanas, no details are given. Whenever I discussed in my class, people wanted to know more about what really lightning upasana mean, what really winking upasana mean, what really thought upasana means, what really dear, adorable upasana mean. But unfortunately, no commentator has written anything about it. Probably it was understood at that time. We have lost the art. But the point is not to be specifics about the upasana. The point is, if we are following the Jnana Yoga path, whose goal is to recognize that reality every moment, that needs to be supported by dedicated meditation. Dedicated meditation. Why? Because to grasp, even to grasp what the Upanishad is telling, we need to have some degree of subtlety in our mind. We need to have some glimpse of the reality, even a very hazy glimpse of reality. That is, we need to have experienced this, that we are something beyond our mind. Until we have got some glimpse of it, that we are not our thoughts, we are not merely bundle of our thoughts, not merely bundle of our feelings, not merely we are our mind, how then we can really progress in our spiritual path. That's why we'll find the core practice of Jnana Yoga or non-dual Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is meditation. Nididhyasana. And if anybody says Nididhyasana is not necessary, don't listen. Please don't listen. Don't listen. Because nowadays, I am sorry to say, a particular school of Advaita Vedanta is gaining popularity, which says you don't have to do meditation. You just listen Upanishad under a competent teacher. Okay. If you can really understand what Upanishad is telling, you will get illumination. And it is not something new. It is a school of Vedanta called Vivarana school. Okay. Post Shankara. Shankaracharya is one of the disciples, Padmanath. Padmapada wrote a commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is called Vivarana Bhashya. There he wanted to establish that listening to Upanishad under a competent teacher itself is sufficient. But the fallacy is the student also has to be competent. That kind of student who is already prepared, okay, for whom mind is already focused, ready, and the teacher, when the teacher teaches, the knowledge flashes on their mind. That's why you will find Shankaracharya always speaks about the preliminary qualification, sadhana chatushtaya, fourfold qualification. In that, samadhi or uparati, that is, you have to withdraw from the world for some time, and you have to have concentration, practice of concentration in that. But what we do, these are difficult things, so we keep it out. Okay. As it were, since relativity is an advanced theory of physics, get rid of Newtonian mechanics, jump into quantum directly. And it feels nice that they are not asking for any practice, feels nice, but upasana is needed. Upasana is needed. Shankaracharya himself, in Viveka Churamani, he says that manana, that is deeply thinking about Shravana, is 100 times better than Shravana. And Nididhyasana, or meditation, is 1000 times better than manana. Okay, Shravana is listening. This is Shravana going on. Okay, but when you think yourself deeply, manana, that is 100 times better. And it is no wonder, because that is active learning. What we call active learning. Manana, when we are doing, is active learning. But after we have learned, we have to assimilate that. It has to be part of our life. That is Nididhyasana. He says that is 1000 times better than even active learning. Okay, so upasana is needed, whether in the beginning stage or even at the end. If it was not needed, look at the people who are so-called illumined people, whom we know to be illumined people. Everybody stressed importance of meditation. Right? I am putting forward a theory, maybe very logical theory, but what does evidence say? Starting from Ramana Maharshi, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, or even modern illumined people, all spent considerable amount of time in meditation. So upasana is needed to support the practice of moment-to-moment spirituality. Okay, this is the second circle. Thirdly, the last circle of Kena Upanishad is mantra 4.8. These are moral disciplines, the outermost circle. Let's do that. Tasvai tapo damaha. Tasvai tapo damaha. Karmeti pratishtha. Karmeti pratishtha. Vedaha sarvangani. Vedaha sarvangani. Sattam ayatanam. Sattam ayatanam. So the teacher concludes that the foundation of this truth that I have spoken, foundation of this mystic teaching, foundation of this secret teaching are this, that these five things are the basis on which the entire edifice of the Upanishad stand. If the foundation is not strong, no matter how beautiful your first level or second level appears, for some time they may stand, but it will collapse if there is a calamity. So spiritual life should be built on these five principles. One is tapaha. Tapaha means tapas, austerity. Why austerity is needed? Because any serious pursuit needs effort. Some of you work in science labs, some of you are doctors, you know. To really do some serious research, you have to sacrifice some pleasures, some easygoing things. You have to focus and sacrifice a few things. Without sacrifice, nothing great can be achieved. Tapa is that. What is the sacrifice here? That by nature, our senses want pleasure. Let it run, it will run. There is no limit to that. Curtail that. Curtail that and put your mental energy and effort in spiritual practice. How to do that? In earlier time, tapaha meant torture yourself, deny yourself. Now it does not apply. Okay. Now our tapaha means lead a balanced life, a moderate life. Then moderation, the beauty of the word moderation is subjective. You choose your moderation. What is moderate for you? Moderation in everything. Don't eat too much. You will feel lethargic when meditating. Don't eat too less. You won't have energy left at the time of meditation. Don't consume. And that is what I stress nowadays, that now moderation mostly means moderation in consuming internet, because information and stories are available 24/7. Cut down into that. Just stick to some hours that, okay, I will read the news, I will watch the news only for certain amount of time. Okay, because nowadays I am finding this is the most common question I am finding, that Swami, what to do about all the troubling things happening in the world? The thing is, you don't have to always watch. If you are always on the go and always on the feed, you will see troubling news will be coming. Because in media, the saying is that what bleeds is what it reads. Good things is not in news. Things which makes us anxious, makes us feel threatened, they are news. People read them. So what is our way? We shall cut it down how much we should consume. Okay. So moderation in everything, in sleep, in entertainment, in consumption of news, in consumption of food, in entertainment, try to have a moderation. And you decide moderation. You are the best judge. You will feel it is becoming too much for me. Second is damaha. Damaha means control, restrain. Restrain means not becoming too much extrovert. too much of partying, too much of, again, watching of movies, too much of enjoyment. Why? It drains our energy and time. If we can cut down on them, we have more time in our hand. What we shall do with that more time, that quality time, we can do spiritual practice, right? Earlier they had a lot of time, now we don't have much time. But even in that limited time, if I am spending too much into extrovert things, then where is the time for contemplation? Where is the time for moment-to-moment spirituality? Damaha. Then satta dhamma karma. Karma literally means work. Definitely Upanishad is not speaking about karma. Karma means here two types of thing. One is sacred. Do things which you find sacred. Do puja if you find it sacred. Do reading if you uplifts your mind, elevates your mind. Go to nature if you find sacredness in nature. Okay. That is one, sacred things. Any things that elevate your mind, do that kind of thing. Second meaning of karma could be unselfish work. Unselfish work. Unselfish work expands our sense of self. It has been proven by psychologists that if you do voluntary service, it gives you peace and joy, because for that moment, you forget your tiny existence, your limited existence. You felt you are part of something big. And in fact, that is what Upanishad is trying to do to us. Go beyond your small, limited self. So any work that let you expand your sense of self, involve in that type of work, karma. So first was tapaha, which in our time means moderation. Damaha, that is simplify your life. Simplify your life. As I was telling that in Silicon Valley, I live near Silicon Valley, a great movement is going on, minimalism. Minimal life, a minimalist life. Keep the minimum number of things. You know, some of the big CEOs are having only two pairs of clothes. Okay, 2 hoodies, 2 jeans. That is that they are having. Why? It simplifies their life. That is dhammaha, present dhammaha. Karmaha, do anything that elevates your mind, or do voluntary service, unselfish work. Then Vedaha Sarvangani. Here Vedaha, not literally we have to read Veda. Here Vedaha means anything, any book, any life stories that give you inspiration in spiritual life, elevating books, read them regularly, daily. Vedaha are its limbs. That is, limbs of the Upanishad. Limbs of the Upanishad means here, limbs of this holistic life, spiritual life that Upanishad is trying to present before us. Then Satta Ayatanam. Finally, it should be founded on truthfulness, honesty. Honesty means, first of all, we have to be honest with ourselves in relation to our spiritual life. That honestly we should assess where we do belong in that spectrum of spiritual progress. Many things we hear and many great ideas we hear, but in the whole scheme of things, for what I am really suitable for? What am I really suitable for? Am I really suitable for that kind of ideal that is being preached? Or I need to start from someplace else? We need to be very honest about it. It is easy to feel like, oh, we are very advanced. We don't need this, we don't need that. It's good indeed to have some, but at the same time, is it really honest thing? So be honest ourselves where we belong and start from there. That is without that, the there is the entire spiritual life might fall apart. We might be deceiving ourselves. We might be thinking of our spiritual stature something else than what we really are. Okay. So that is honesty about ourselves. These are the 5 foundations. So even if we forget everything about Kena Upanishad, let's remember it as a diagram of 3 concentric circles. The outermost diagram are these 5 foundations of life, 5 moral principles of life. And then the middle circle is upasana, or contemplation and meditation. And finally, the core practice of Kena Upanishad is try to live up to that awareness that we are divine, or we are children of God, we are friends of God, we are in the presence of God, or we are the Atman, moment to moment, moment to moment. So each is supported by the previous circle. Okay, remember this diagram, you will remember Kena Upanishad. Okay, with that, let's end. I can take questions, okay, but let's end with Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari, will it be okay if we take the questions downstairs while eating? How about that?
Can we do it here now?
Okay, okay.
It will be more formal.
Okay, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
One quick question. So you talked about the middle circle, right?
Hmm.
Contemplating and upasana. So I am not very clear about the discussion there. I was asking whether just doing japa on Guru Maharaj.
That's it.
Is that
Yes, that's upasana. That's upasana. That's upasana. Anything that is any practice which is dedicated absolutely for some time on concentrating or on some idea is upasana. Okay. Yes.
The difference between upasana and true focused meditation, it's not easy, right? As you said, mind keeps wandering from one upasana to
Right.
Is there any guidance on the observation? I can understand, but how to get that real focus?
Yeah. So upasana is just like this. Is upasana and dhyana, you may say, differ in degree of concentration. Okay. So upasana, our spiritual practice, what we do, what our guru teaches, you will see they are called always upasana. Why? Because we don't jump into meditation right at the beginning. Okay. We do some other things, elevate our mind. That is upasana. Dwelling on a theme, which is gradually leading us to a point when we are more concentrated on something. So upasana, you may say, as a buffer zone between being out there to in there. So it will gradually lead us to there. Okay. That's why it is the middle circle.
You talked about one kind of upasana that was like observing our mind.
Yes.
Dwelling on different things.
Hmm.
Is it same to the vipassana that Buddhism teaches us?
Yeah, in a way, but Buddhism teaches to watch the mind moment to moment. Here, the added thing is watch the mind moment to moment with the awareness that there is light of Atman behind that. Okay, so
if we are allowed to say, Buddhists won't believe, if we are allowed to say, here watching the mind moment to moment, but with a profound understanding that mind moment to moment is in the presence of the divine.
Follow-up question.
So in our practices, it is said that if the mind start dwelling to other things, bring it back, like you hold it like a horse or something like that. It tries to go away in different directions.
Yes, yes.
So what is your thought on that? Because it is also a practice that is said in this Upanishad to just only observe. And then it is said that no, you cannot let it go and you have to bring it back.
Yes, yes.
So it is not
If you have got a instruction from Guru, that is the practice. Okay, you need not change it. The Upanishad is the general thing we are talking about. And we are not following the practice of we don't have to practice the Upasana prescribed by the Keno Upanishad. But we need to appreciate the need of Upasana. Okay.
Brought up an interesting point about the seeing God in everyone, and we're supposed to be able to love everyone. Why don't we love everyone? I just wanted to share a technique I had run across. So you're supposed to, in theory, love everyone, but in practice we don't. So one of the things that I sometimes do is I start with the assumption, the question. I assume that I'm going to love the person. I don't necessarily love them, but I ask myself, where do I love them? How can I love them? What am I not seeing yet to love this person? And when you ask questions, you often come up with answers. And so I found with starting that with that intentionality, more often than not, I find it because I'm looking for it.
Yes.
Because if you think about most of the people, not, we have our family, but most of the people we love, there was a first meeting at some point. So when I try to approach somebody, I just sort of give it up. I don't know what you'll mean to me later. There's love
There's
there.
always possibility.
I just have to look for it.
Yeah, that's a very good way.
That's just one technique I've used for that part that you were talking about.
Quick question. So living in USA, I often find it difficult to have the kind of sadhu I used to have earlier back in India. Are there other avenues? I understand this is one such setting. Are there any other avenues where you can go to an ashram and live there for a weekend or so?
Yeah, of course. Where do you live in Brisbane?
I come from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah, you can go to Washington DC. They have a nice arrangement for stay. Once in a while, you can go to Ganges, Chicago, Michigan. Here it is, you have to do some more effort. Yeah, you have to probably fly or drive 5 hours, 8 hours, but it is worth.
You live in Harrisburg?
It's 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, so whatever here, of course, you have to do something more, but it is all the more needed. Yes, all the more needed.
That becomes the question.
That is tapasya, and it will pay off.
Swami Ishadhyanananda talks about Leela darshan. What the mind wanders, but you wander on these
Yes.
Leelas.
That is an upasana, great upasana for a devotee.
The only question I have is, am I not training my mind to wander?
Mm.
Am I not training my mind
Yeah.
to focus? There is a conflict.
No conflict, no conflict. Leela Dhyana prepares the mind for deeper meditation. Okay. And at the same time, at a very higher stage of love, Leela Dhyana itself becomes the only upasana. Then it is no more an effort. It is natural. Mind is only thinking about the God and God's Leela. Initially, trying to live or think about the Leela is a practice that is called Leela Dhyana. And at a very advanced level, this dwelling on the Leela is what remains. Then it is no more a practice, it is a natural thing. It is even very higher than Dhyana. Okay. Because ultimately, devotee does not want illumination. Okay. I mean, the devotees, in the sense of the Krishna bhaktas, to them, enjoying the lila of God is the highest achievement a devotee can have. Okay. All right, then let's go and enjoy the food.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, sure.